Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. Today, I'm joined by my friend Sheri Perbeck. Sheri is on the show often talking about angels and the messages that they bring us and the many gifts that they have. Today, she's talking about a different subject, one that I hope you'll enjoy hearing and perhaps learning about if you're not already familiar. Um, Sheri is a psychic, a medium, and an angel practitioner. Today, she's going to teach us about fairies and the creativity, inspiration, and magic that they bring. So I hope if you're not already a believer, you'll open your mind, your hearts, and your creativity to learn about them with me. Thanks. And here, let's welcome Sheri. Welcome back, Sheri. I'm so thrilled to have you back and talking about a new subject today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
So am I. I'm looking forward to learning a lot today and to perhaps introducing our listeners also to a topic that, in my opinion, may not be as widely known as the angels. I think in our culture, at least, we have more publications and more information about angels than we do the topic of fairies, which is
Yep.
something that you're also very familiar with. So
Yes.
I'd love if you would start by telling us how you first became aware of the fairy realm.
Sure. I would love to. I very much love the fairies. I love the topic about the fairies and sharing that with people because there's a lot of people who don't really know that they're real or that they even exist. Like you said, we very often more uh, bring up the angels, but so maybe 17 years ago now, the fairies presented themselves to me. And it blew my mind because I didn't even think to ask if they were real. To me, they were folklore or cartoon. And there were five of them who came to me. And they all have their colors as well as we do and as the angels do. And they were about 1.5 to 2 inches big. I've since learned that they are all different sizes, actually. I communicate with three of what we would consider deities in that field that are human size as well. And the elementals, they're all real. The the fairies, the elves, and I believe that they were here on the planet before we were. To be honest with you, they do live here on the planet. They do vibrate at a higher vibration than we do, so they have the ability to make themselves unseen. They have communicated to me that they live underground. It doesn't mean that we don't see them above ground, but that they do live underground. And they're very, very loving. I wonder sometimes if they don't have an ego. I actually kind of think that they do because they can be very mischievous, but very loving. And they want us humans to know that they exist. I mean, they're really coming out now and they want men, women, and children to know that they're real and that we can learn from them. They love the planet. They know about love way more than us humans do. And they have such a greater appreciation for the planet than humans.
When I was researching for our conversation today, I was discovering so much that was new to me. And what you were saying about them being all different sizes and shapes was something that was discussed in the research that I found. And as I was reading, thought that's probably part of what led to so much confusion about them because they can't be classified in one small category. There's such a lot of different types and all. And then I wondered how
Yep.
you know the difference between when they're communicating versus when angels or celestial beings or different entities are coming through to you. How is it different for you?
Well, I can see them. I have the ability to
Okay.
see them. So right there it helps. Or I don't always see them, but they will flutter near my ears.
Okay.
And it'll make you look like, is there a bug nearby? Um, and yeah, that's basically how I know it's when they're around. And quite often, we have families of the fairies. Quite often, people are looking for the fairies, outside of themselves, like they're like we don't know them, so they'll be calling them into their yard. But what people don't understand is that we have many incarnations, right? But not very often do people realize that they could have been a fairy themselves in existence. So, which means then that we have family. The five that came to me were part of my family and have since taken my. They'll take my consciousness to places,
Mhm.
and it's just mind blowing. And I don't have to necessarily call it a meditation to connect with them. I just will, like a lot of times I'll go to bed at night and I'm just lying there and I'll say, I'd like to just be with you. I just want to be with you.
Mhm.
And they will literally, it's not an astral travel, but it sure does feel like it.
Mhm.
And I guess you could call it that sometimes. Sometimes they'll just give me like movies in my head,
Mhm.
and that's when I'm still present. That's not an astral travel, but there are times where I've gone to Dublin, Ireland, and swimming in the fairy pools that I didn't even know existed until they actually took my conscious mind there. And I mean, it was just beautiful and amazing. And they're so just the feeling of freedom is the best way to describe these fairies. And they'll help you to feel that. I don't ask them a lot of questions because, um, like I said, they're definitely different than the angels in that if they don't want to give you the information, they're not going to give it to you. If they want to give it to you, then they'll give it to you, you know?
So, if for you, you are clairvoyant and able to see them, and you know that they're there in that way, I'm thinking of listeners who are intrigued by fairies and don't know that they've been around them, perhaps, but
Mhm.
want to get closer to them.
Right.
What if they're not clairvoyant? Do you have any i- advice or input on how they might draw closer if they're not clairvoyant using some of their other senses?
Sure. Well, the first thing you might want to do is, um, get into plants and flowers and just talk to them out loud, or you could even just it really first just starts with the thoughts of that they intrigue you and you'd like to learn more about them. Okay, but like I said, they love the planet, and you will get some plants and ask the fairies to help you to take care of the plants, help you to teach you what can I do for this plant to flourish. um, and then you don't have to be clairvoyant to see, because they can allow you to see with your eyes open without that gift per se.
Mhm.
A lot of people actually see them, the orbs. That's how they appear a lot. You'll see the different colored orbs. They're small,
So how do you know it's a
typically.
fairy in the orb and not an angel orb?
Well, if you, well, typically, the angels, okay, say like Mike, well, actually, all of them, a lot of times you'll get more of a strip of color with the angels, where or the angels will be more of a bright light for me in an orb, but they're typically bigger with the angels. The smaller colored orbs are usually, for me, the fairies. Now, also, if you start showing interest that's calling him in. Because remember, if you do have an interest, 9 times out of 10, you have fairy family, and they know. Um, so, but I'll tell you, when I tell you that they have egos, I feel that they get very frustrated with us humans, with good reasons, because like I said, they have more of an appreciation for the earth than we do. Well, they know the earth has a heartbeat,
Right.
and they want us to learn that and to have more compassion for each other, for animals. They love animals, love animals. Um, so, that's another reason to open your heart up and start living your life with your heart being open, because we will attract these beautiful beings when we open our hearts up.
Do you know how angels have all their different, I'm trying to think of the right word. The only one that's coming to me isn't a very appropriate one. Tasks, missions.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, sure.
yeah, I, the best word for that just is escaping
Yep,
me
their
right now.
jobs.
But yeah, their jobs. Um, and as I'm thinking of fairies as you're describing them, I'm thinking of them as having um, life on this planet as their mission. Is that accurate?
Uh, I would say so. Yeah, I mean, they are. Hmm, they're so a part of this planet that, like I said, I believe they were here before the humans. So, for me, it's almost like Mother Earth um, was so loving and healthy and magical when it was first, created, that these beings were formed from the planet.
Right.
You know, so and I really believe that our planet did reside in a much higher vibration at one time,
I do too. Yeah.
because these creatures, these elements were very magical, and they were very much into their gift, and they could manifest within thoughts very quickly. um and then and that goes into the whole, okay, so what happened? They say we were a meeting station for the different planets here, and then it started um kind of being overtaken, and they weren't all such loving beings, and um a lot of the fairies were, their magic was gone. They lost their magic, and I don't know how much they lost, um but it could be that they lost their will, the disappointment of their beautiful planet. And I know that a lot of us, I think I am a fairy incarnate, just because of I've seen myself, I felt the wings on my back,
Mhm.
and a lot of fairies are here on the planet now in human form, and it is really to help people to lighten up. Like, that's the biggest message that I get from them is, lighten up. Um, and I always know, usually when I meet people, like, oh my God, that is a fairy. That is so a fairy. So, but yeah, so I think that they want, obviously, to bring this planet back to restore the planet, and for them to tap into their full potential. I mean, our all of us, our full potential. You know, you know, Jan. One of the things that they've been talking about through the whole, to me, during this shutdown, has been teach people to be creative, but with themselves.
Ah,
Huge, like even your appearance. They're expressive. Express yourselves. That has been such a huge, huge topic with them all through the summer. I mean, even I tell people all the time, if you want to wear a orange sweater and a purple pair of pants, then do it. If that's what your heart says to do, then do it. Because believe it or not, that's, falling in love with ourselves, and that's going to, spill over to others.
Mhm.
And boy, it makes the fairies very, very happy. And creativity is just huge with them. Beautiful. When I connect to them, I look at things so differently. I have such an appreciation for, um, even my plants. I have basil pots. They're not even pots. I keep cutting my basil and putting them in water, and the roots are growing like crazy. And I have them all over my house. It's just that weird connection. Um, and they're very, very playful, very playful. But so they can really help us. Now the three, well, there are two, what I'm calling deities in that field. One is called Mother Love, and one is the Snow Queen fairy. Now, when I tell you that they are very magical, they are. I can't even express that enough to you. It is something that you, when I saw the Snow Queen, I mean, I saw her, and I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it that I was seeing this. Almost something you would see in a storybook.
Well, when you said the name, I was thinking, do you remember the fairy tales and the ballets and all about the Snow Queen that was so exquisite and gorgeous?
No, I did not. Not until after I saw her. I tried to do some research, and I did come across some of the folklore or fairy tale stuff
Mhm.
that they have.
Yeah.
So I didn't even have that knowledge to be able to create this. I mean, but of course, you could watch Cinderella,
Mhm.
and e- it's just as magical as these stories are. They really are. Um, so I want to share a real quick story with you. The first time I saw the Snow Queen, the next day I had 4 back-to-back readings. So I said to her, "Okay, if you're real and I've not lost my mind, you do the readings. When these people come in, you give me their information." And she blew me away. She blew my clients away. I mean, the stuff that was coming up, my clients were saying, "Oh, and by the way, they were new clients too. How do you know this information?" And I said, "I didn't. There's a fairy here who's telling me all this information." So, um, but you cannot make any of this up. It is that magical. Our imagination is not great enough to make these fairies up.
So how do you I think now it's hard for me to really know because I'm in my own world and what I see is filtered through my own beliefs, obviously, like we all do. I think there's more acceptance of angels. I think for
Yep.
more people, fairies are still a stretch.
Yep.
What would you like those skeptics to know in order to embrace the fairies?
That well, they're missing out. I mean, they're just simply missing out on all that there is. I mean, for me, when I have a skeptic in front of me,
Hmm.
and I have who refuse to believe in the fairies, I I feel that a lot of times there are people with the religious beliefs and background,
Uh,
and it blows me away because then I say, well, you don't think that your God is that incredible that if He can make us and the beautiful animals in the world, that He can't make fairies or other beautiful. Oops, it's probably a fairy knocking this out of my ear. Or
Playful.
I mean, to me, oh, Jan, that's what I thought. When I saw the fairies for the first time, I I felt like I fell in love with God all over again because they were so beautiful and magical that I said, oh my God, what else can you do?
Mm-hmm.
What else do you have in store? Because just an incredible gift to, um, sorry about that,
It's okay.
to see them, to have them around us, that they exist. And I'll be honest with you, I really feel that the planet needs these fairies. We need them fairies. So I want to share something else with you. Oddly enough, I had a little visitation with them this morning.
Oh, good.
And I shared this with a friend before this and was told that I should share this with what's going on. So this was more of a distant thing that I was seeing. And they were all in these ships. It was as if it was an aerial view.
Mm-hmm.
And the fairies were all in these ships. I saw a deer. And they were out in the ocean, and it was absolutely beautiful. And then they showed me this looked like another Earth, the
Mm-hmm.
New Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of spiritual people have heard of this term, New Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So, and so I took it as it was absolutely beautiful, and that all of us in the next few months need to stay very positive. And, you know, things may look a little shaky at first, but that the new earth is coming, which to me was absolutely beautiful and good news.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you could only be in my head at the vision, you know, it's color. I wasn't asking for that information. In fact, I wasn't even asking them for any information. So they know my family, my fairy family knows that, you know, of course, we were going to do this today, and they wanted a message to be sent out.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And I was going to ask you too if they are coming forward with more visibility in general around
yes,
the globe because of the,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Jan, people are coming in and asking me what the orbs are around them.
Mm-hmm.
Angel Speak community page, people are posting on there. The fairies are coming in with men and women, and they are actually getting and understanding the messages that are being given. So, yes, they have been extremely active actually in the last several years
That's what I
with
was,
me for clients. Yes.
yeah. Okay, so before we get on to a different track, you said there were three main divinity deities that were showing to you. You mentioned Snow Queen, the other two, Mother Love, and
Mother Love and actually Danu. And
okay,
Danu is actually a Celtic goddess who they say is actually from another planet. She looks complete human to me, but who came to help the fairies in learning their magic again from what happened
um,
forever ago.
okay,
So she heads them, and the funny thing is, I saw Danu after I saw the fairies years and years and years ago, and didn't know who she was for another, who knows, 10 years or so after that.
hmm,
Um, but she is, and I saw her like I can see you right now, even her green eyeliner that I always tell everybody. Um, and Danu has, she's just incredible. I've channeled her actually quite a few times. Very sacred, very, of course, very loving, and and the Snow Queen. And you can actually get Danu has had a lot of incarnations too. By the way, I think she's been called Anna and many different names. You can look her up. The other one is Mother Love,
hmm,
and just the sweetest thing ever. She wears a straw hat. In this straw hat, she has rose petals. She exudes a mother type love, and she helps those. She helps children. She helps those of us who need to work on self love. Um, and she's just very, very loving, very motherly slash grandmother type. energy. The Snow Queen will help you with connecting to your higher source, actually, your higher self.
Hmm.
And I always see her with a wolf.
Interesting.
Yep. She always has a wolf nearby her, and the strength that she exudes is just amazing. If you lack in confidence, you can call her in. Um, and she will also, they'll work with you in your dream state. We're talking about being clairvoyant. They will work with you in your dream state. So, you don't have to have these special gifts per se, because I think we all do, but you don't have to be aware of them. They know how to work with us. We have so much help around us. I always say the air that you breathe is not empty.
That's a
So
great
many different
phrase.
forms.
Yeah.
Right. We have so many different forms of help. Whatever you want to open your heart up to, that's what you're going to attract. So if you want to attract the fairies, be more playful. They love music too, by the way.
I was going to ask you about music, if they related to music or responded to music.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Because
Absolutely.
our brains respond to music, and so I wondered if that was in entrainment with the fairies as well.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They love music. When they see you happy and you're carefree, that's why I tell everybody to treat your home as your sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure that there's nothing but peace in your home. And if there's not, fix it. Because remember, they vibrate from a very high vibration of love. And if you set that up in your backyard and in your home, they will come. Yeah. They love poetry. Anything that helps, your heart soar and lift. They're about harmony. They're all about harmony. They do a sweet tooth. Some people will put a little bit of wine out for them outside. Um, some fruit. Don't forget they like to play. Oh, so if you wonder if you're into fairies and you seem like you're losing your keys, or you put something down, they'll do it. They will. They'll hide things on you.
Do you remember, or maybe it wasn't the era that, anyway, the book series, The Borrowers, where they would hide? I think they were fairies, but I don't remember if they were called fairies in the book, but they were a household. They were fairies, a family of fairies, and they would hide all the things in the household. And they had a
Oh,
whole
wow.
little place in the attic where all these lost objects were.
Really? Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. Yeah, that sounds like the fairies.
I might
Yep.
not be remembering it accurately. I read it a very long time ago, but it was a wonderful storyline. Yeah, all these things went missing and they would scurry them
Right.
away.
Right.
It's really fun.
Um, oh, and don't forget about the leprechauns. They're real.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you, when I see them around people, and I've seen them like 3 feet tall, typically they will be very lucky with money. That is true.
Interesting. They're very
Yes.
impish, aren't they?
Um,
Like they
yeah, I
love
think so. Yeah.
practical jokes and such.
Um, I think so, but they're also, what I've seen from them is that they can be serious and they can be snippy.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because like I said, I really think they have egos too. They're just very like, they can be very sarcastic. That's the ones I've run into.
I wonder if that ego comes from having, like you mentioned, they had lost their powers or their magic over the
Yeah,
centuries. I wonder if it comes from rebuilding a protection around themselves.
I absolutely agree with that. That's what I was getting ready to try to spit that out. That they don't really have they don't have a lot of tolerance.
Uh huh.
They don't have a lot of tolerance for humans,
I can appreciate
especially them. Yeah, I know, right? I know. Yeah. They really don't seem like they have a lot of tolerance. It's yeah, it's really something. But of course you always have to give something to receive something.
Right.
They're very much about that philosophy.
Yeah. Interesting.
Make sure, yeah.
Yeah. I cannot believe we've been talking for almost a half hour already.
Oh
So
wow.
I know. So I want you to share anything that you'd like to from either your own thoughts and heart or from the fairies with our listeners that you haven't already before we
Yes.
close.
Yes, please. In the next few months, these fairies, these angels are telling me to tell everybody to stay in your light, that they need us and the planet. We need each other to stay in that as the most positive, loving place that you can be, and that we as a collective can change the outcome of the negativity that is surrounding us right now, hugely, and harmonize with the elementals. Read about them. Just do some research. Even if you buy a fairy statue, or it's letting them know. Buy a plant. Keep fresh flowers in your home. They're there to help. They will, if you raise your vibration to them, they will come, or as close as we can get. But stay in that place of love and stay out of judgment. Stay out of judgment no matter what.
That's
And
wonderful.
we can do this. Yeah.
And along with your other points about creativity and music, putting all those ideas together, we've got a
Yes,
real
absolutely.
toolbox. That's wonderful. Thank you, Sheri. Anything else
Absolutely.
you'd like to add before we close?
No, that's the most important message that I'd like to get out there with everybody. That's it really is important.
Okay, we'll
Yeah,
have your links in the show notes, and I want to mention that you now have fairy candles in addition to your wonderful angel candles.
I
So that's
do. I
another
do.
way people can bring them in and invite them into their homes or offices.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Yep, they're on my website. Yep.
Yeah, and we'll have
Thank you.
your sherryperbeck.com link and everything in the show notes.
Thank you, Jan, so much. Thank you for
Oh,
having me on.
oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you. Until next time, tune in and stay well, everybody. Thanks for listening.